Mike Clevinger to the White Sox. He had a 2.84 ERA in 2020. So I'm looking back at his tenure with the Padres here first. He had a 4.33 ERA in 2022 during the regular season. Remember, he dealt with the knee injury. He was dealing with that knee injury in spring training, or since spring training. And then 2022 postseason, 2 2/3 innings combined, 7 earned runs against the Dodgers and Phillies, 9 hits, 3 walks, gave up 2 home runs. That was his Padres tenure. I mean, it was underwhelming. I think failure is a harsh word, but I mean, I wouldn't blame you for saying that it was a failure just based on like the expectations, right? You give up that much at that 2020 trade deadline for him. Some guys that are contributing to Cleveland, and I'll get into that here in a second. And you bring him over. Yes, Preller did not know that Clevenger's arm was going to fall off. And I'll be the first to admit I was stoked when the Padres acquired Clevinger. Like, that was great. Going in, all in here, 2020 season. Let's do this. They had the Nola trade and all that. It was like, all right, they're trying to build something here. Let's go. They make the postseason. Great. Then he gets hurt. Well, he was hurt, and then he tried pitching through it, couldn't throw the breaking ball, got hurt, and then he wasted the 2021 season because he had Tommy John. Or not he wasted it, but the season was a waste, right? So they give him that extra year, or Clevinger gives the Padres the extra year because he sat out all of 2021. So he pitches 2022, and yeah, it's unfortunate, but the fact is he got hurt. He was dealing with the knee injury. And so, yeah, you could say, well, Ben, he wasn't as effective as he would have been if he was healthy. But we can only judge the numbers, and we can only look back on his tenure as what it was, what happened. And what happened was he didn't help the team in the 2020 postseason because he got hurt, didn't pitch 2021, 2022. I mean, he pitched innings in the regular season, but he wasn't like he didn't pitch at an all-star level. And then in this postseason, he did not help the Padres win. He hurt their chances of winning when he was on the mound. So didn't help in the postseason 2020, and he hurt their chances and was one of the reasons why they were eliminated in 5 games in the NLCS. Giving up 7 runs in 2 2/3 innings. 9 hits, walked 3, gave up 2 home runs. I know the Phillies and Dodgers, those are 2 really good lineups. But the Dodgers start did not hit his spots, and you didn't get an out against the Phillies. Didn't get 1 out. After the Padres put up 4 runs for you in the first inning, you didn't get a single out. Sorry. Like, that's what we're going to remember from the Clevinger tenure with the Padres, is that he couldn't get an out against the Phillies in that NLCS game. And then obviously the thing with Manaea happened, and they had another lead, and they choked that. But, like, come on. Martinez came in there, 3 innings, didn't give up any runs, kept it 4-3, right? Imagine if Clevinger gave up 2 runs instead of 4. Well, maybe that game turns out a lot different, right? And who knows what would have happened if the, series therefore went back to San Diego. So I would not blame you to say, or if you had the opinion that this Clevinger tenure with the Padres was a failure. And this trade that was made in 2020, the Padres did not win the trade. Now, again, it's easy for me to sit here and say they didn't win the trade and it was a failure now because we know what has happened. I'm just telling you what has happened, and they did not win the trade. I would have done the trade at that time if I was Preller, because the players they gave up, I mean, Josh Naylor wasn't playing a whole lot. Cal Quantrill, I mean, they were going all in for that year and these next couple years. He was not the pitcher that he is now. Hedges, they just wanted him out of there. He was just get him the heck out. That was one of the wins of the trade. Gabriel Arias, years down the road. Cantillo was years down the road. Owen Miller wasn't contributing with the team. He was years down the road, right? So, yeah, I would have done the deal then too. But now looking back on it, yeah, that's a deal where it's like, maybe they should have used those guys to trade for someone else who maybe didn't have a little bit of an injury history. Maybe they just should have not traded those guys and made a smaller deal for a smaller pitcher just for 2020 instead of for multiple years of control. But again, like at that time, I wanted someone with control, a starting pitcher that had control. That's what Preller likes to do. He likes acquiring guys with control. He doesn't acquire guys for 1 year very much, right? Bell, Drury, those were exceptions. But like Soto, multiple years. Musgrove was multiple years. Snell, Darvish, multiple years, right? He does not Hader multiple years. He doesn't go get guys for 1 year. So I was fine with the trade at the time. But looking back on it now, that Cleveland won. Josh Naylor, could the Padres use him now? Yeah. They need a first baseman. Naylor can play that. They need a DH. He can do that too, right? He could have been a bench bat. They didn't really go to their bench in the postseason this past season, right? With Cleveland this year, he hit 20 home runs. He still has 3 more years of control. Cal Quantrill, he had a 3.11 ERA with Cleveland this past season. He still has 3 more years of control. Padres need starting pitching. Could they use Cal Quantrill right now? Yes, they could. Austin Hedges, yeah, whatever. I'm fine with him being gone. He's a free agent now, I think. He might just go back to Cleveland because he's not going to make a whole lot of money. I was fine with Hedges, whatever. Nola's worked out better than Hedges. But Gabriel Arias, he's still only 22 years old. He was in the ALDS lineup the Guardians had in this postseason. Owen Miller, he's a pre-arbitration player. He was in the ALDS lineup for the Guardians. Joey Cantillo, a 1.93 ERA in 2022 in the minors. They need starting pitching, young starting pitching. I think he could help in future years. We don't know about the future with Snell. Don't know about the future with Darvish, right? He could help. He could be an arm. Better than Ryan Weathers, better than probably Jay Groom. I mean, we don't know with Jay Groom, but probably better than them. Better option than Reese Kinnear probably in the future. So that's a lot of quality talent that they gave up here for a guy that did not help the Padres in the postseason when they made it there, when he appeared in games in the postseason. That's what it comes down to. What did they get Clevinger for? They didn't get him just to make the postseason. They got him to pitch in those high games and start those games and pitch really well in those games. That's not what happened. Didn't get an out against the Phillies. I know he was dealing with the knee injury, and look, this is nothing personal against him. Like, he was pissed off after that Phillies game, and he said, this is one of the worst days of my life. And yeah, it should be, right? He sucked. He let his team down. I love the way that, he treated the fans here. And I think he bought a house in San Diego. I think Annie Halbrin was saying that. Like, I have nothing but love personally for Clevinger, but he would not have helped. He just didn't help the team as much. It did not work out. That's just what happened. It did not work out, and it was time for him to go. And I wish him all the best with the White Sox, and hopefully the Padres meet the White Sox in the World Series. And Clevinger's, maybe I don't want Clevinger pitching because former Padres usually dominate the Padres, but hopefully they meet in the World Series in 2023 and everything's good. But we could use Naylor right now. We could use Quantrill. We could use Gabriel Arias and Owen Miller and Joey Cantillo in the future, So, yeah, that was a miss. That was a miss on a trade by Preller in the front office. But I would have made that trade at the time of that trade. So I can't bash Preller for making the trade, but they did lose the trade, right?